Have you ever heard of the Omnipotence Paradox? It's a classic philosophical conundrum that has been debated for centuries, and it goes something like this: can God create a stone so heavy even he can't lift it? At first glance, the question may seem absurd. After all, if God is truly omnipotent, that is, all-powerful, then he should be able to do anything, right? But if he can create a stone so heavy that even he can't lift it, then that means there is something he cannot do. On the other hand, if he cannot create such a stone, then that means there is something he cannot create. The paradox raises some interesting questions about the nature of God and the limits of his power. If God cannot do something, does that mean he is not really all-powerful? Or is it simply that the question itself is flawed? One possible resolution to the paradox is to suggest that the question itself is meaningless. The concept of a stone so heavy that even God cannot lift it is self-contradictory. If God cannot lift the stone, then he is not all-powerful, and if he can lift it, then the stone is not truly so heavy that even God cannot lift it. In other words, the question is based on a flawed premise, and therefore cannot be answered in a meaningful way. Another possible resolution is to suggest that the paradox is simply beyond our understanding. As finite beings, our minds may not be capable of comprehending the full extent of God's power. Perhaps the question is not a paradox at all, but simply a limitation of our own understanding. Regardless of how you choose to approach the omnipotence paradox, it is certainly a fascinating topic to ponder. It raises questions about the very nature of God and his relationship to the universe, and challenges us to think deeply about the limits of human knowledge and understanding. Whether you are a religious believer or a skeptic, the paradox is sure to spark some lively discussion and debate.